Hello everybody, how are you all going? I hope you're all very well. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking you through the final assessments. I'll talk you through the assessments, both for those of you who have to be assessed in semester 1, and for those of you who can be here for the intensive period of rehearsal and assessment we have in semester 2, following the exam period in November, or maybe late October. Now, the first thing I want to say is thank you. Thanks to you all for your flexibility and to your patience while we've been finalising this alternative assessment for semester 1. I can completely understand that for some of you it's frustrating and a little bit stressful. So I want to say sorry for that, but also to explain why it has taken so long to be able to come up with the alternative assessment. Well, I had it in my head anyway, but to be able to give you details of it in a sort of definitive way. Okay, so at this stage, you'll probably have heard that there's a staggered return to campus, particularly focusing on first years, on yourselves. In light of that, and this is something that's only happened last week, in light of that, I put in a request to the Associate Dean of Education in the faculty to allow certain groups to come back onto campus during the next few weeks so that directors and actors who need to be assessed in semester 1 can actually work together in the room. In other words, do the same assessment as the intensive lot in November. Now, this has gone up to the Vice Provost and we're still waiting for confirmation, so that's why it's taking quite a while. So this video is going to be taking you through what happens if we don't get permission to have assessment in the next couple of weeks, and also for those of you who are interstate or overseas who can't possibly be in the room. Okay, so the first thing to say is the final assessment is in the spirit of the first 2 assessments that you've done. In other words, we do not expect a brilliant, polished, fantastic performance. If you do, that's fantastic. But as I've always said to you, I see assessment as another form of learning. And that means that I'm going to be with you to guide you through this as you're being assessed. So let's look at what we have here. Okay, if I can actually get, there we go, things to come up. Okay, so you have 2 options. I'll just move my little picture up there so you can see. For those of you who have to take assessment in semester 1, you're going to be working on an audition speech, but with me. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to imagine that you are somebody who's auditioning for drama school. Now, when you audition for drama school, for most drama schools, you are asked to find your own speech. This can be quite scary, I have to say. I know from personal experience, albeit 30 years ago, that finding the right audition speech can be, well, a rather tricky process. However, this is your job to do that. Now, there are numerous ways you can find an audition speech. We do, for instance, have access to Drama Online. That's in the links that I gave you to the databases that the library has about drama. On that site, you will find literally hundreds of plays which you can access online. So if you're a real eager beaver and you take acting seriously, it's a fantastic resource for you to go through. Remember, the more plays you know, the more plays you read, the better an actor you become. So that's one option. The other option is that you can look at books specifically about audition speeches. Now, there are many, many of these audition speeches for men and for women, or if you're non-binary, then it's up to you which you choose. You can also access audition speeches via the web, so you can just type in audition speeches and you'll find quite a few come up. Now, this is the problem with audition speeches. When you go into a book of speeches, you'll find very often that they are out of context. And that makes it very difficult for you to do the job that an actor needs to do in terms of finding out about your character and the given circumstances of your character. So, I would strongly recommend that once you do find your speech, you go and do some research on the play from which that speech comes. Again, that might be going to Drama Online so that you have a look at the play, or it might be having a Google and seeing whatever you can find about the character that you've chosen to play. Okay, so the speech needs to be 2 to 3 minutes long, okay? 2 to 3 minutes long. Now, what I'm going to do is send around a Google Doc with basically a calendar. This calendar will give you slots for the final week of exams, so you have quite a long time to do this. You'll sign up individually to a slot. So for instance, I might say, okay, Monday I'm available for assessment between 10 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you might choose to sign up under the slot which says 10:20 to 10:40. Okay, you put your name there. And then I will issue individual Zoom invitations so that you know that your session time that you have chosen on the Google Doc is locked in. And then we both sign on for that. Okay, so this is going to be quite like the Shakespeare speech that you did, but it'll just be between you and me. So you'll do your speech, and then I will work with you on the speech. Now, I hope you remember that from the Shakespeare speeches, it's actually, well, I hope, quite fun, quite informative. It's not that scary because I want you to do well. So I will be trying to help you, giving you tips, giving you advice to get the best performance that you possibly can. And remember, it's not the first performance of the speech that gets the marks, it's your progression through the entire session. Some of you might remember that in the Shakespeare speeches, your first one might not have been that good. But then if you worked with me or you worked with Laura, you will have found out that by us helping you, your performance improved. So that's what we're looking for. Now, usual things, it's almost a given at this stage. You learn the speech, you do the homework. If you do that, you will have the grounding, and it means that when you and I work together on the speech, then we'll be able to get the most out of it. Now, you have quite a few weeks for this, 3 weeks for you to prepare this. So for those of you who've been concerned about the lack of clarification, please don't worry. You have time for this. And just in the same way that with those in semester 2, I will be assessing you in November after the exams, I am quite happy to assess people after the exam period of semester 1, just so that there's complete fairness and parity. So I will give you lots of times that you can sign up for. So don't worry about your other exams. Don't worry about other commitments. You will find a slot that's right for you. Okay, so the criteria, well, it's actually the same criteria that will apply for those of you who are working with your directors in November. Have a look at that on the assessment page of Moodle. You'll see that we're looking for the same things again and again, whether you're working in a scene or you're doing an audition speech. It's understanding of your character. It's understanding of the language that your character says. It's getting a sense that you understand the physicality of the character. Now, obviously, if you're doing a Zoom meeting and you're sitting in front of your camera on your laptop, the physicality is going to be something which is, less easy to assess. However, just think about this. Okay, I'm now sitting quite low. I sit high. Something like that makes a difference. I look down and I mumble my lines. I look up and I talk to you directly. Those things make a difference. So as you're working on your audition speech, think about your whole body taking the speech on and taking the speech into you. And that way, even if you're only sitting down on a chair talking to the camera in your laptop, I will understand about the physicality. I've been doing this long enough to be able to tell whether your body is in character or not. Okay, so the final thing then to say about these audition speeches, you have to choose them. I will not help you choosing your speech because this is part of being an actor. You have to take that independent decision. So please do not email me or contact me to ask, is this speech okay? Because I will say, it's up to you. And so that wastes both of our times. You must have the confidence and you must have the independence to find your speech yourself. Simple as that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, moving on to those of you who have assessment in November. So, I'll move this back up again. I've said this before, but it's useful to say it again. In fact, I'm going to move this over there. Okay, so you'll work with your directors. Now, what's going to happen is that over the course of the semester, I will be in touch with those of you who have been in this class, and I will allocate you to third-year directors. Now, I want to make this really clear. This assessment is for this unit, ATS 1189. So even if you are not taking Acting 2 next semester, so you haven't enrolled in ATS 1190, so even though you're not acting in semester 2, you still have your assessment for semester 1 pending. So that means I will contact you, whether you're doing acting or not, allocate you with a director. You will catch up with your director, hopefully in person, otherwise by Zoom, and you'll start to talk about the scene. Now, in the period in November, we haven't got dates yet, I'm afraid, after the exam period, you will work with your director and your fellow actors in the scene in an intensive mode. So that means you might do a couple of sessions of 3 hours, or you might do an entire day of rehearsal, of deep concentrated rehearsal. During that period, I'll be around, I'll be popping in and out of the groups rehearsing, I'll give you suggestions, I'll take any queries, I'll just be there to help you and your directors improve in what you're doing. Now, I want to make this clear that we are very aware of the situation constantly changing, so there will be social distancing in place if it's necessary at that stage. Your health, well-being comes first. So imagine this then, just so that you've got it in your head. You are a student who has taken ATS 1189, but you are not taking ATS 1190. So you have no contact with any acting next semester, but sometime in the semester, you will get an email from me saying, I have allocated you to this director, you'll be working with these other actors, this is the scene, okay? And then we all come together in November. You do not have to choose the scene, your director will be choosing the scene. And you'll work with them, hopefully in a really fun and engaging way, because playing together, literally playing in a play, is one of the best things that you can do in terms of making yourself feel happy, frankly. Okay, now, the showings then. So the showings in November, what we will try to do, again with social distancing, top of the list, is invite all the groups, as many as we can fit safely into the drama theatre, to watch each other's showings. Because just in the same way that I've said about watching other actors, if you watch each other's scene work, you will learn from it. And then I will give feedback. I'll work with each group straight after they've done the scene. I'll help the actors, I'll help the directors. And again, as the whole principle for assessment in this unit is, we will look at the progression that you've done. And I will also give feedback after the showings, because I think that immediate feedback is really, really useful for everybody in terms of the learning experience. Right, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to come back to you now. So that's the dealio. Now, excuse me, I should find out from the Vice Provost in the next couple of days, maybe even today, whether we are allowed to have return to campus. If that is the case, then I will invite people to sign up for assessment during the exam period or after the exam period, depending on times. I'll give lots of different times to accommodate people. And if that's the case, then we will go back to the normal assessment, the non-alternative assessment, that those of you who can will be put together with the directors who can, and you work in the room in exactly the same way that the rest of you will work in November. Now, because social distancing, of course, is so important right now, I will ask that it's only those actors who have to be assessed in semester 1 who sign up for this. This might not happen, okay? It might not eventuate, but if it does, I'll let you know straight away. And remember that for those of you who are interstate or overseas, there will be no difference in terms of your chances of getting a high mark, the way you prepare, between doing the alternative assessment, that's your audition speech, or doing the assessment in the room. It's a different activity, but I know how to mark you in the same ballpark with the same criteria, so nobody will be disadvantaged. If you have problems or questions about this, please do join me on Wednesday at 12 o'clock with the ongoing first year Zoom drop-in that I have, and we can talk about any questions that you might have. Just want to reiterate again, tautological. I just want to reiterate for those of you doing the alternative assessment of the audition speech, you have to choose the speech yourself. Don't ask me. Have confidence in yourself. Okay, guys, well, I'm really going to look forward to seeing you again, either working with you on your audition speeches, or best of all, working with you in the room. Take care of yourself. See you soon. Bye-bye.